Welcome to the studio. Today I am continuing my little series on how I make my motifs, and today I'm doing grasses. So it's a really nice way to add movement and energy and colour to a piece. So if you like what you see, click like, subscribe to the channel. You can also go to ruthander.co.uk where there's a lot more artwork to buy and also self-paced video courses if you like to make, not just look. So when I'm doing the kind of grass motif, I first of all roll out the ink fairly thin. So what I'm going to be doing is pressing onto the back of my paper with some kind of tool or implement. And I'm just rolling out a fairly thin amount because what I don't want to do, I only want the ink where I'm going to press onto the back of the paper, not anywhere else. So I don't want lots of ink getting all over the place, and I'm just going to make sure there's not too much. Okay. I'm going for a nice bright kind of orangey colour to go onto this piece here. And I'm going to try and put some here, I think. So I'm just going to shift my plastic over a little bit so I can get that in. And then I'm going to place this over and use my trusty old knife. Now you could use any number of things. This one's got quite a nice sort of, it's a bit thicker on that end, it's thinner on that end, so I might use both actually. And the best thing about this is you can just go for it. You can just, it's just movement, energy, it's great. Now if I use, that's the thicker end, I'm going to use the thinner end as well. Should get thinner marks, I hope. Yeah. So I'm going to do a bit more on that actually, but these slightly thicker marks are from the thicker end of the knife, the handle essentially, and then some thinner marks here. And the colour just makes everything else come out a little bit more, and the gesture and the movement, the energy, just helps to bring a bit more of that into the piece really. Okay, let's see how that's worked. Yeah, a bit more there. So that's coming along nicely. And what you can do, you can have a go at this, is you've essentially got a ghost print here. We've got a negative of what I've just done because the ink that I've pressed, no, what am I trying to say? When you put the paper on and you press onto it, you're taking ink off in a nice sort of, you know, a nice way. So I've got some ink left on there. I'm going to see if it will transfer onto this piece. So this is made with the same plate, but it's on Japanese paper. So Japanese paper is thin, as you can see. And so I'm hoping it's going to pick up a bit more of the colour. So I think I'm going to try and put it in the same place again. It may not. Let's give it a go. Okay, just placing it over and just moving this out the way. Okay, so I'm going to use, let me just think here. I'm going to use a piece of scrap paper over this so I hopefully don't rip the paper itself. And I'm going to use my Baron, and I'm just going to press down. Now there is some ink on here, but there is less ink than there was, so I'm not sure how much will transfer over. The best way, or the best thing to take ghost prints on is thin paper, tissue ideally, because it's really thin. It picks up on absolutely everything. I'm just trying to get a bit of pressure on there. Okay, so you can see some of those marks that I made, but it's not really, really bright. So I will probably work some more on that and add some of the brighter colour just as is, just as I have already. And the other thing you can do, of course, is just take a ghost print and collage that in, which is something I also like to do. So if I was to just just got some scrap here. If I was to take that negative just on some tissue paper here, just by hand, add a bit of extra movement, that let that dry, and then you could use that for collage, and you could even collage it into your piece if that feels better. And the other thing that you can do to do grasses, which I quite like sometimes, is just when you have some ink on your roller, to just use the edge of it. So I'm just tilting it up like that, and you can get some really nice marks. In fact, I really like that. So you could do that straight onto a piece or onto a piece of paper to collage.